Hey everyone, this is Skeptic Sage. Let me first apologize. I have a horrible cold. In fact, I stayed home from work today because of it. So if I sound funny, I apologize. I'd like to chime in on the issue of VenomFang having his account removed. I noticed that a lot of people are automatically assuming that his account was removed because of its political content and that some kind of political correctness or some kind of dislike of his political views has something to do with why his account was removed. I would just like to say that I find that very doubtful, taking into consideration that there is some incredibly hateful, weird, strange stuff on YouTube that is sitting there and hasn't been removed even though it's been flagged. So I think what might help is if I read to you a little bit of the user agreement that many of you probably haven't read, because it's so long and involved and complicated and legalistic, but there are certain parts of it that are easy to understand and that might shed some light on why VenomFang was removed. And I am quoting, "When a video gets flagged as inappropriate, we review the video as determined whether it violates our term of use. Flagged videos are not automatically taken down by the system. If we remove your video after reviewing it, you can assume that we removed it purposefully, and you should take our warning notifications seriously. Take a deep breath, read our terms of use, and try to see it from our perspective. If you find other videos on YouTube with the same violations, please flag them as well so that we can review them as well." And specifically it says, "We encourage free speech and defend everyone's right to express unpopular points of view, but we don't permit hate speech, speech which attacks or demeans a group based on race or ethnic origin, religion, disability, gender, age, veteran status, and sexual orientation, gender identity." In another place they say, "We decide whether we believe your violation of our terms of use should result in termination of your account. If you have an account terminated, you are prohibited from ever signing up for another account." Now, in order for us to really judge whether this was done inappropriately, we would have to know what the content was that VenomFang used that was apparently hateful and apparently crossed the line as far as hate speech is concerned. I can imagine VenomFang doing that. I think that we should be a little more, I don't know, we should look at it from the point of view of YouTube. They have to make judgment calls, and VenomFang did make numerous statements that were hateful. In fact, we all criticized him for that. So it's odd that we're criticizing him for being hateful, and then we don't want him removed from the site. So if we disagree with this terms of agreement, which is revised all the time, then we have the right to say to YouTube in some kind of protest that they need to alter their terms of agreement so that certain types of hate speech could be allowed, because having hate speech on YouTube and then us being able to respond to it is better than having it removed. But is that really what we would want? Think of the kind of bizarre hate speech that would exist all over the internet. Interestingly enough, as a gay man and as a person who is critical of Islam, I've had my life threatened. I've had people condemn me for being gay. I've had huge amounts of hate speech directed at me. None of those people have been removed, mostly because I've never flagged them. If I flagged every single person that made a negative statement about me, threatened my life, etc., I'd spend all my day flagging people. I would have to flag a couple of people a day. Now, maybe I should be doing that. I don't know. What I'd like is a response from everyone and what they think about this, about whether they think that what I've just read, which are excerpts from the user code, and whether this user code needs to be revised in some way. Because I think YouTube would be very open to revising its user code if we gave them a reasonable argument. But again, we're judging. It seems like a lot of us are judging the decision that YouTube made to get rid of VenomFang without really knowing what the content was. Maybe it would be nice if we had the ability to know what that content was, that before something was removed, it was allowed to stay on the site with a tag that said this is going to be removed within 1 week because of this reason. I don't know. Those are just suggestions or ideas, but I think that we need to get off this bandwagon of automatically assuming that VenomFang was removed because of some kind of political correctness, or because he said stuff that disagrees with the belief systems of the YouTube staff. I don't see anything on YouTube that seems to indicate that. I don't see that happening to anyone else. Most of the people that I've read their content and then seen them removed later, they had very hateful things. And again, both myself and a large number of YouTubers make very negative statements about religion and about other things that are not hateful, but they are very negative. They are very critical. YouTube has been very, very lenient about that. I have never at any time had anyone in YouTube ever remove a video of mine, even when I've been routinely accused of being bigoted. I've been routinely accused of being Islamophobic. I'm not, but I've been accused of that. And I think I've probably been flagged repeatedly. As far as I know, I don't know. But none of those flags have ever led to me being removed, and that's because I don't allow myself to get involved in things like calling people names or getting involved in making unsubstantiated statements or saying these people should be hated because they're evil. So I think that what we need to ask ourselves is, why was VenomFang removed? Number one. Number two, was it consistent with this code? Are other people not being removed because they're not being flagged? And is someone like VenomFang being removed when other people aren't just because they're being flagged? And is that really fair, or does that make any sense? And once we come to those conclusions, then we need to say to YouTube, here are some improvements that we think you could make. Just an idea. I'd love your responses, even though most of the time when I ask for responses, I don't get them. But we'll see how this works. This is Skeptic Sage telling you, as I always do, that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and I always tell you that I wish you peace, and I do in fact wish you peace, and I wish VenomFang peace, though I think that's going to be difficult for him to achieve, but I wish it for him anyway. Thanks.